Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I want to share with you what happened between the time that we were back to United States in 2016, that we lived there, and then we came back over here to live in 2021. And the reason that I'm making this video is for two reasons. The first one is because this was crucial time for us. First, we didn't know what to do, how get back in our feet after losing everything and putting in our business, and how to come back to that. And also come back from that and then come back to live here in the Dominican Republic. We didn't know what to do. It was figuring out what to do that make that happen. And the second reason is because I usually get statement or question from people asking how we do this, how we make this happen. That they believe that this happened overnight and it was easy. No, it wasn't easy, and it didn't happen overnight. It was a time the money was very tight, that we didn't have a place to stay, that we have to have multiple jobs. So all that was between that time and before we were able to make this happen. So let's get started when we closed down our business in end of May, beginning of June of 2016. In that point, we didn't have money to go back to the state. So what we had to do is we had to borrow money from my husband's sister to buy the plane ticket to go back. We didn't want to go back to Alabama. What we decided to do was to move to Florida because we knew some friends over there that they were going to allow us to stay with them for a minute until we find a place to stay. So that is what we did, fly back to Florida. So no, let me go back. And the first place where we flew back was to Huntsville because we left some things in a storage that we needed to get, and also we left a car. My husband's car was there. We need to pick that up to be able to use it. So that's what we did. We flew back to Huntsville, picked up our thing, and then drove to Florida. And the first thing that we did when we got there was to start looking for a job and applying all 10 services that we couldn't find online. We went to all of them to apply for a job. And the first job that my husband had that I remember, it was loading a trailer truck, this big truck it was. And keep in mind that my husband, he was a human resources manager when we were living back here in Huntsville. And he have experience doing the same thing for about 15 years. But I don't know, but a lot of you probably know, when you get out of the country and then you come back, it's not as easy for you to find a job. And when you have that little gap, that was just a year for experience, they still put everything so difficult. So we will have to do what we have to do, but we just came back, need money. First of all, we came back without money. So we needed some money to be able to come back and get our own place. So the first job that he had was loading trailers. And at that point, he was making $10 per hour. And also keep in mind that he was making before we left in his last job in Huntsville, he was making $29 per hour in his human resource job. So going from 29 to 10, yeah, it's a big, huge gap. And me, what kind of job I found? I was still looking for a job. And I think the first job that I found was a event server. And that, how much money I was making, it would vary. It depended what kind of event it was. So some event paid one amount, some event I think they pay like $8.50, some other paid $11. It was depending on what kind of event it were, where was the event going. And it also was a different time of the day. Sometimes it was in the morning, sometimes it was in the afternoon, sometimes it was even in the evening. So I was doing that for a minute. So we did that for about probably over a month or so to work in those places. And then at that point we were staying with my friend. She's Dominican. So we were staying with them, and she was her husband and two kids that they have. And they had a house. And actually, they used to live in Huntsville too, and they just moved to Florida probably about a couple months prior we went over there, probably let's say 3 or 4 months before we did. And we were staying with them, and then the owner of the house found out that she was having more people staying in her house, and he didn't want that. And another problem was that he have in the same house, it was like divided in multiple rentals. And one problem that he had is that we have our car parking in the house. And he said that also having that car parking over there didn't have a space for the other rentals that he had. And that was some issues. And then at the end, we could have stayed over there with them, but then we had to park our car like in a supermarket. There was a couple corners from the house, and then we had to walk all the way to the house. So at that point, my husband said, no, we aren't gonna go through all that trouble, and then we was jeopardizing their stay in the house because the owner wasn't happy. So at that point, we just decided, or he decided, that we was gonna find another place to stay. And that point, that's when we started being homeless. So in that point, what we decided to do was to move out, and what we did was to bounce from hotel to hotel. So at that point, we were just living from hotel to hotel, and we did that for over a month. And you would probably ask, if you have any money, how did you pay for that? Well, at that point, we have a PayPal credit that we were able to use that credit to book from hotel.com. That's what we did. We used that credit to be booking hotel, to be living from hotel to hotel. So some days we were staying close to the beach or by the beach. Some of the days we were staying in close to downtown. Some of the days we were staying in places that look like the Base Motel. I don't know if you have watched that movie. I remember a couple places they look like the Base Motel. And so we was bouncing around from hotel to hotel, and I think they around Fort Lauderdale area. And close to downtown, we know most of the hotel around that area. And while we was bouncing from hotel to hotel, we were still looking for an apartment to move in. And it was very difficult to move into an apartment because regular apartment, the requirements over there in Florida were so difficult. And I think the deposit was like 2 deposits or 3 deposits at the first month rent. It was about 4 deposits just to move in. And we just got into our jobs, and it was kind of difficult. And the crazy part is that the best apartment that we have, they have an offer at that moment, and it was $500 deposit, the first month free, and the next month it was half off. And that was a very expensive apartment. It was a 2-bedroom, and it was paying $2,200 per month, the rent. But at that moment, they have a sale. They have an offer on sale, and it was ready to move in right away. That was, like I said, that was the best apartment that we have while we was living in Florida. It was a very nice apartment. And here is the crazy part. The regular conventional apartment, it put the things so difficult, and this new modern apartment, so nice. We have that offer that we have to apply right in. But before that, we have a couple applications that we did, and it was all turned off due to because we didn't have enough time in the work place, or we didn't have the deposit to do it. And again, you will ask yourself, how did you get the money to move in your apartment? And well, there you come. My husband called his mom. She sent us the money to move in, and that's how we make it happen. And we did the application. It took a couple of the things, the requirements that they asked, and this and that, but we finally got into the apartment. They accepted us. We moved in, and it was the nicest. Like I said, I love that apartment. Today, I do still love how that apartment was. The pool, the lobby, nice gym. We have like coffee, cakes, cookies, and all that. Every time you go to the lobby, very nice. And we moved in. It was a nice apartment, but guess what? So 2 things. First was, we got into the place, but we had no idea how we were gonna pay $2,200 per month. We wasn't making that type of money to pay that kind of rent. But we needed a place to stay, and the only place that was easy on us to get an apartment was that. It was expensive at that moment for us, but we had to do it because that was the only way that we got at that apartment. And 2, we moved in, but we don't have any furniture. We didn't have anything. We didn't have dining table, we don't have sofa, we didn't have beds, we didn't have TVs, we didn't have anything. We just move in the house, in the apartment, or we just was there. So we lived like that for about 3 months. Of course, we bought the necessary things that we needed, like pans and pans to cook. We bought some cover because we were sleeping in the floor. And of course, we still have our computer that we brought from here from Dominican Republic, and we use that to entertain ourselves sometime and also for look for jobs and do the thing that we needed to do. But we stayed at that for about 3 months. And at that point, I did find a job in a temp service due to my previous experience when I was in Huntsville. I used to work in a recruiter office. Yeah, I found a job similar to that. And I was still doing the events. So I was having these 2 jobs, and my husband was having 3 jobs. He had finished the one that was loading truck, but he found a job at the fire department. He was doing administration work. And when he left that job, he would go to cleaning school, and there was another one, it was a car rental place that he used to go and clean too. So he had the 3 jobs, I was having 2 jobs. And that was how we was able to make up for that money that we had to pay, have a rent of $2,200 per month. So we did that for about a year. I mean, the first year was pretty much to get back on our feet. And we did that. We stayed in the same apartment for about that year. During that year, of course, I have a couple jobs. I switched to a couple jobs. I will still having mine in the recruiting office. And then I think a temporary job, I do work in Dunkin' Donuts. And my husband was still having pretty much the same job. He had a recruiting job, and also he was doing some other size job like the cleaning offices at night. And we did that for about a year. And during this year, of course, we were able to buy some things, like buy our thing that we needed for the house and have all furniture and everything. But at the end of that year, we was looking on a way out to that apartment complex. We was trying to another place that we can rent it. Of course, they pay less because we was trying to work in our plan to get out again from the US. I mean, our plan from the beginning was to go from over here to go back over there, but to make a plan that we were able to free us, not to go back to the same thing. So by the end of that year, we was trying to find another apartment that we could pay less for rent to be able to work in our plan. So we did that. We started looking for other apartments, and then we found that apartment. The last apartment that we moved, it was in Pompano Beach. And we stayed in that apartment complex for 4 years. That was the last apartment that we lived over there. And when we moved first over there, it was about $500 less than what we were paying. And the apartment, I would say, is the comfort. It was very comfortable apartment and a modern apartment. The difference in price, it was basically the area. It was like that one was in Fort Lauderdale, about close downtown, about 5 minutes from downtown. This one was in Pompano. It was still in a good area with everything closed, but it was cheaper than the one that we had. So we moved there, and we lived there, like I said, for about 4 years. So the first year on that apartment, the new apartment, that's what we tried different businesses online, like the Shopify store, the affiliate marketing. Of course, we did have a Shopify store, and it worked for a minute, but then it was difficult with the do have suppliers online. So that didn't work out. And when we was in 2017 doing the Shopify store, we wasn't realizing that we was learning a skill of online marketing and things like that. Because when we started doing YouTube, it was difficult, it was hard. We didn't know nothing about YouTube. We just started, we was uploading videos like 3 times per week. But my husband was still learning how to do the editing, how to market online and all that. He did that, he learned all that, taking courses, looking for information online. While he was working, remember we had multiple jobs, and he was still learning all that at night, during his break, sometime at lunch. So it was a very difficult time to try to have, we still have a lot of that. And you have to work, have multiple jobs, learn how to do the editing, learn all this. It was very hard. And like I said, we have a lot of that. Because I forgot to mention that we went to Huntsville to get his car, but we had 2 jobs, and he was working, I was working. In Florida, it's not that easy with the public transportation, so we needed another car. And the first thing that we did when we moved up there, that little car, I mean, the red car that we have here, that's the car that we got when we first got there. We went to a financial institution and we got that car financed. And that is the car that we have today. So we are very grateful to that car that is still working with us. So that put us in more debt. We have a lot of credit card debt. We have a PayPal account that we put down, way down to the ground, just booking hotels. And we have the car payments, and we have rent that we have to pay. We have our credit card that were all maxed out when we had the restaurant because all the things that we were doing here. So it was a lot of debt that we have to pay and a lot of things. It was just very hard to go back to our feet. So by the end of 2019, we had most of our debt paid. We have both of our car paid off. We have our credit card paid off. We have, like I said, most of our debt was paid off. And at that point, it was when we start having we will start seeing our plan and the thing that we wanted to do. By the beginning of 2020, our vision was clear. We also having our YouTube channel, and he able to do the editing and manage it. He was getting a skill that we wasn't realizing that we could help the skill. And we were still having our job. He was still going to his job in his office. I was doing the same thing. So the channel started getting some momentum, and also the revenue from the channel. We started seeing the revenue from the channel. He was getting a skill from working on my channel. We were seeing the people and the people question and the necessity. We were seeing what services we could provide if we were living in here. So we will start having a clear vision of the things that we could do. I think that I mentioned it in one of my videos that I said that at the end of that year of 2020, we were ready to move back here to Dominican Republic, and we made it happen at the beginning of 2021. So in that point, COVID hit. And I know it's unfortunately for a lot of people, but that helped us a lot. That is when the opportunity came from online job. And he started applying for this to do social media marketing online. And he got one contract, and using the experience, using my channel as a reference, he was able to get this contract. And then from 1, he went to 2, and to 2 he went for 3, and then after that he will multiply until he was able just to stay doing that online. And that is what he's doing up to today. He is still doing social media marketing online. So pretty much in 2020, we already knew that we was gonna come over here by the end of that year. So we set our mind that we was moving at the end of the year of the 2020. We were still working multiple jobs. I was doing Instacart. I did love to do Instacart. So I was doing Instacart. That was some extra income that I was doing. We started saving money. We did already have all our debt paid off. And when the end of that year came, that was it. We say, okay, we are moving. We put a date on it for March. So we start setting everything up. So in March, we make that move. And if you haven't watched the video, how do we make our move happen, just look at this video right here. But yeah, that's how we make everything to happen. Yes, now you know it wasn't that easy. Like it wasn't an overnight thing that we did and just, we decided to move, let's do it. No, it was a plan. That is what I usually tell people. You need to make a plan and you need to put everything in order to make it happen if you want it to last. That is not something that you just make it one day to another and you don't know how you're gonna make money. So guys, yes, we hit a rock bottom, but I think something that helped us is that we did have a skill that would help us to get us from where we started to back to where we was. And like I mentioned, my husband was making $10 per hour, but at the end, before we left, he was making $26 per hour again. I did have a skill set that I was used to work in 10 services, and I started doing the event services. But at the end, I was working in a 10 service that I was making pretty much the same thing that I was making back when I was in home skill. So that was one thing that helped us. So if you have a skill set, use it. I mean, those are things that help us when you are in a need situation. And if you don't know any skill, you better learn it, because you never know when you can use it. So always learning a skill that you can use is a very good thing to have. So to get a skill is not that easy. Sometimes the people think, oh, okay, I want to work online, and that's it. No, a skill you have to learn it. You have to develop it. You need to practice it. And while you learn and develop your skill, then you can use it and put it to work. So an example of a skill set is that when we started our channel, my husband would learn and do the uploading, tagging, the SEO pretty much. And then not realizing they do it for all this time. Now, up to today's date is when a lot of his clients ask him to do that. So that was a skill set that he was learning while he was doing it for us in our channel. But now he's able to do it for other people. So it's something that he developed and learning without any intention to do it beside for us. But now it is for services. So now he is able to provide that service. Like, for example, me, right now I started in this Airbnb administration, and it's been challenging. And it's a lot of things that get me frustrated, and then you can say, and instead of look at it, oh my God, this is I'm a throw the tower, I can't do it anymore. No, that's a skill set that I'm learning. I'm able to do it, and that is something that I can then teach other people to do, or that I know how to handle it. So all those things, even though sometimes you start doing things, it gets into your nerve and it gets you frustrated, but those are things that you are learning how to manage. So that is something that I think is a good experience. So I didn't want this video to come out like I'm bragging about us or about myself. It's more like to let people know that if you are in a home, sometimes the situation is hard. It's depending how, for some people it's harder, for some people it's easier to get in a home. But in the same time, it is difficult, but you are able to do it. And if you stay your mind positive and stay consistent, if you have the will, you will get out of it. So guys, if you're in that fight to get out of the hole, stay consistent. And that is all I have right now. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.